Okay, can you listen to me? Can you hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you now, yeah.
Yeah, we are responsible to report the progress on environmental performance in the country. The biggest one that we are doing at the moment is on GHG emissions that we have to submit as part of the agreement under Paris Agreement 2015. So we have submitted our biennial update reports last year in December to show where we are at the moment. So a lot of decision to be made in the country is based on the requirement as needed under Paris Agreement. And what we are doing at the moment is to prepare policies related as needed by Paris Agreement. So what I'm trying to talk about mostly related to Paris Agreement requirement. So apa dia? Asal apa? Sekarang ni baru nak buat benda ni. I just mentioned to you a few things. As far as climate financing or environmental financing is concerned, we have been too much depending on public financing of subsidy and grants from government. We want to shift from subsidy and grants into alternative funding, such as private financing, wakaf sukuk or sukuk investment, wakaf investment or sukuk or whatever, that related to the issue of mainly climate related on based on vulnerability and the urgency. So I give you an example. In the past, when we talk about infrastructure such as making dams or building dams or coastal protection, it is mainly subsidy and grants. So what we are trying to do at the moment is to find ways and means to, say, for example, to develop a financial package to allow private to invest as well. So I give you an example. In the past, when we talk about energy efficiency, we have EPC, energy performance contracting. So when I was Secretary General of Ministry in charge of energy in 1917 or in 1916, we made that available in Malaysia. So we want to do the same for other sectors, particularly water sectors, or related to, say, for example, carbon reduction or low carbon initiative. This includes, say, for example, non-revenue water. In Malaysia, we have about 35% non-revenue water that costs us more than 2 billion ringgit Malaysia going to the drain every year. If we can find ways and means to capture, say, for example, half of them, we have 1 billion that we can put into the market, and how best we can do it more creatively. We have also other environmental services. During rainy season, we have a lot of water in the country, so we probably need water grid that store the water somewhere. And the way we get back the investment is through, say, for example, the water that we sell, the raw water that we sell to the water operators. So, and this is what we are about to finalize. We have to complete the policy by Q3 this year. So in doing that, in water sector alone, we are expecting to have 300 billion ringgit Malaysia and for the investment until 2040. So this is the amount of money that we need because of the climate mitigation and climate adaptations. And in doing so, we are at the moment trying very best to include as many as possible people from financial sector in our group. So we had discussion, I think about 2 weeks ago, on how financial sector can be more proactive in water sector for climate mitigation and climate adaptation. I would like to end my presentation because we have very short time given to me at the moment. What we are trying to do this year related to the topics that we try to discuss today. One is to have a carbon market guidelines this year in Malaysia. And at the same time, we try to complete our nationally determined contributions by Q3 this year. This is requirement under Paris Agreement. And for next year, we try to have our BUR, biennial update reports. It's not easy to have biennial update reports. You can ask countries around the globe. We managed to complete them last year despite COVID-19 and whatnot. So we want to have biennial update report by end of next year. And this year, what we are trying to do to start on long-term low emission development strategy. This is mandatory, or this is part of the requirement for Annex 1 countries in Paris Agreement. Malaysia is it's not part of Annex 1 countries. So we do it because we think that it is good for the country. So if people ask why Malaysia is not proactive enough, because it's not mandated under Paris Agreement, but we do it anyway. Yeah, so this is something that we would like to report to everyone. And this year we are going to establish Greenhouse Gas Center. I just had a meeting early this morning to make sure that the preparation is ready, and by doing that we can have transaction on carbon. This is very important for us to move forward in order to develop a carbon market mechanism. Thank you, Chairman.
Thank you, Dr. Zaini, for your presentation, and what a remarkable job you did, despite the last-minute technical issues. I think just a very quick recap is that we are seeing, Dr. Pakon noted, the very clear and immediate change and evolution of the nature of capital. Secretary General, so what would be your views on what has worked and what hasn't worked since 2015 in driving the sustainability agenda?
We have to understand that in order to behave well, or in order to change, we have two routes. One is behavior, and the other one is habitual change. Behavioral change is very expensive. You require a lot of incentives and punitive actions. If you rely on behavioral change, which is about 10% of what we are doing in life on daily basis, it's very costly. And you have to have, say, for example, on punitive, you have to have a mechanism to regulate, and regulation to be made practical as possible. And we have to have a lot of officers on the street to regulate, especially if you talk about environmental pollution. Whatever you do, there are some, of course, some degree of impact to the environment. But I think what is more important is habitual change. We in the ministry, we realize that habitual change is what is more eternal, and it is free. When everyone realizes the importance of environment, habitual is 90% of what we do in life. We don't have to think about it because it is already within our mindset. It is already DNA of us. So wherever we want to invest, say for example, we have to invest in a good company that shows return on investment, responsible to protect environment, and we are in the midst of climate change at the moment that everyone's talking about. And according to many ways and many analyses that we have done, we have seen, climate change could be more severe than COVID-19 in terms of impact to the society. Therefore, we have to act fast. It is not the question of what to negotiate. It's the question of what we have to do ourselves. Because your house might be in danger because of the flooding in the future. Or the way forward for you to go to work will be stopped because of there are a lot of environmental degradation taking place. So this is something that I would like to say, and my point here is that we have to differentiate between behavioral change that many people think important, that require a lot of money for incentive to be given and punitive to be ready. And we are improving our regulatory framework in the country. Say, for example, if you are caught polluting, the new amendment that we put forward is to have, say, for example, a very severe penalty of 10 million ringgit Malaysia and a mandatory jail. That's what we put in the next amendment to the existing law that we have, Environmental Quality Act and Water Services Industrial Act. Yeah. So, but what is cheap is habitual change. So how can we promote habitual change? That is something that we have to do, and everyone will feel that they are part of the negotiation, they are part of the environmental sustainability movement without pressure from market or pressure from the authority.
Thank you